Glad to be back home this week in front of our great fans and in our stadium. And we got a big challenge ahead of us, and it starts this weekend with Miami. And they do a good job on teams. They play hard. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They're going to come in here. Obviously, they're in the same position we are, fighting for a playoff spot. So we got to give them everything they can handle and get after them and win the special teams battle.
Were you able to get any clarity on the blocked field goal called / no call and what happened there?
I think at the end of the day, all I probably can say is that it was illegal. I'm sure the young man was doing what he was taught to do. They got away with it. It was a missed call, and that happens in football. To be quite honest, that's a hard call to make, and they missed it. And this week we had a field goal meeting this morning, and I showed it. I told them it's a learning moment. How do we need to handle it? We can't always have the official bail us out. We got to do a better job protecting. We got to do a better job getting the ball up in the air, and we got to make every kick that we're asked to make. So at the end of the day, we're making no excuses. We're going to move on and be better because of it.
Coach Zimmer mentioned that he would like to see some areas of special teams be more explosive. Are there examples you can pull on from the Seattle game where you'd like to see that as well?
Yeah, we had 2 punt return opportunities where we blocked up the Gunners really well, including the one they kicked from the 2-yard line. And their young punter, who's a very talented young man, he shanks the punt. And one they got a hit and roll on, one that died at the 41-yard line. So we had a really good field position for the offense after that one at the plus 41 or 40, whatever it was. If it was a 3-3 hang time, it was a 39, 40-yard punt, and we have Marcus at 50, he just couldn't get to it. If it's a little bit higher, he might catch it and get to the 20 before anybody's there, because it was a very well blocked play. And then the other 2 opportunities we had where they were good punts, we didn't block the Gunners up well enough. So it was just one of those things that timing didn't work out right. But yeah, those are actually 4 examples from that game that I pulled out of it. Kickoff return wise, we were close on a couple, but they were really fast, and we didn't handle the speed as well as I would hope to. The last one we got out to the 30 was a good return by Amir. But we're still a work in progress. We're still we need to get better. We're shuffling guys in and out like most teams are this time of year, and we got to block them up better. And we got to start this weekend against Miami.
What stands out to you about the Dolphins special team?
They rushed the punt really well. They've rushed ever since Grant. Is it Jakeem Grant?
Jakeem.
What is it?
Jakeem.
Thank you. Sorry, Jakeem Grant. Ever since Jakeem got hurt, they've been more of a punt rush focus. I mean, they line up 8 in the box, and they're looping guys, reverse twist, inside twist, snapper picks, you name it, they've done it, and they do it really, really well. And they have a lot of confidence in it. So that's going to be a big challenge for our punt team Sunday afternoon, is protecting the launch point. Matt getting a good punt out of there, and our Gunners going down and making plays.
Is there anything different you could have done on that block field goal? I mean,
not really, because the other thing that's illegal is they pushed our guard and tackle down, which is defensive holding. So it was kind of a perfect storm of one of those days, one of those deals.
In some ways, is that sort of just a risk reward that some teams are willing to take, the penalty versus the potential?
I mean, maybe, but that's a pretty big risk when you think about it. I was thinking about it after the game. I mean, if it's called, then we get 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line, and we're hopefully going in to score with, maybe we scored 2.5, 3 minutes ago in the game, make it 7-6, and who knows what happens from there. But that was, could we have done anything different in protection? I told our guys no. I mean, they did everything they could do. Now, we need to recognize it better. We maybe need to have a different pad level, so to speak, with our guard and tackle, and that's what we worked on today.
I know it was a while ago, last time you guys played in 14, but Jeff Locke's block punt. And
thanks for bringing that up.
Sorry. Are there certain situations where that type of thing still comes into play, that you practice those things where?
Well, if you remember, the snapper bounced the ball back to Jeff. So it was the only bad snap that young man had in probably his whole career, unfortunately. And he's a great kid, obviously one of my favorites, Colin. But it was not a good snap, and Jeff drifted to his left and got blocked for safe. It wasn't even a rush on their part. They had one guy forcing the punt. And I was trying to forget about that play. I didn't even done, but now it's ingrained in my memory. I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. I won't sleep tonight either. Appreciate that. That's an awesome question.
Here's a good one for you. Okay. When you see what Daniel Carlson has done since going to Oakland, does that not surprise you, or what's your reaction?
No, it doesn't surprise me. No, some of the things I know they've been talking about, his technique and all that stuff, that's what we did here. I mean, he was really long when he got here, and we worked really hard all spring and all summer long, and making him a compact approach. I think he had one bad game, and it was more mental than physical. He's a really good kicker, and I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. I'm not one of those guys that's going to be spiteful. He let us down against Green Bay. I hope he has a terrible career. That's not who I am. I mean, You know, he's a good kid, and he works hard. You know, I wish him the best.
Is
So
there,
he lets me play him, of course.
is there anything from the mental side? I think it's a question that comes up with this team for obvious reasons. Just with kickers here, I mean, is there something to that with the franchise's history or something that you do differently than other teams do?
I don't think so. I mean, if you remember, you know, Blair Walsh was a 60% kicker his senior year, and he went to the Pro Bowl his rookie year. He had a phenomenal year. His second year was pretty good, even though he got banged up. And then what happened with Blair, in my opinion, is that, you know, he lost a lot of weight. He was trying to be more fit, and when he lost the weight, he lost his strength. He lost his strength. He changed his technique, and then he wasn't as successful. That's something I tried to stop, and I didn't get it stopped. So that was part of it. And the other thing people forget is that in the playoff game last year against New Orleans, we had a 49 and a 53-yarder in the fourth quarter. I mean, that would have been the narrative had we not had the Minneapolis Miracle. And I'm glad we did. Obviously, we won the game, but we had 2 huge field goals in the fourth quarter. That's, people remember those, would have remembered those forever, but they gets lost in the shuffle, and that's fine. That's great. That's football. But I mean, yeah, should we be better than we are? Yeah, of course. Of course. I don't think I'm doing anything different than a lot of other coaches. I think, in fact, I think I understand the craft of kicking better than most coaches, and I'm trying not to overcoach. I'm certainly not overcoaching Dan Bailey. And you know, it's the product of the whole battery working together and being more consistent, and that includes the snapper, the holder, and the kicker. And not to make excuses, they haven't worked together long enough, but neither is Carlson out in Oakland. He's just handling a little bit better right now, and so we just got to go out and make kicks down the stretch and do what our team asks us to do to help us win games. I'm not making any excuses. What's that?
Well,
I can go all day in there.
How much time do you spend just on the mental side with your specialist? You know, which is such a different thing than strategy and technique on
Sure.
the rest of your special
No,
teams.
you're right. You're right. You know, I think dealing with a young kicker like Daniel was different than dealing with a veteran kicker like Dan, to be quite honest with you. You know, when Dan first got here, I wanted to learn his technique. I wanted to learn how he has been successful in his career. And then we try to harness that and get as close to that as possible in practice and then on into the game. So those are the things that we talk about, but I'm not a mental coach. I mean, if a guy needs a mental coach, he needs to go elsewhere. In fact, I'd be the last guy. You can ask my kids that. I'd be the last guy to be a mental coach expert. I'm a little emotional and get a little fired up, but at the end of the day, if that's what a young man needs, then he's got to find that, you know, outside the building, so to speak. I'm here to coach football.